Hey, good afternoon, good evening, Classic Cup Tournament anglers. I'm Rick Mohan, and I'm here with.
Eric Zietz.
We are the co-tournament directors for the 2021 Classic Cup season, and we have the Pelican Spring Classic coming up here on June 4th and 5th. We're excited about that, and this is our online rules meeting. So with that, I just want to start off with, we've had a long tradition of remembering and recognizing old friends and tournament competitors who are no longer with us. And I would like to build on that tradition with a short invocation. So, gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for the many blessings that you have provided us. We thank you for your amazing creation and the opportunity to pursue our fishing passions. We also thank you for the opportunity to conduct the 2021 Pelican Spring Classic Walleye Tournament and the improved public health challenges that we have faced this last year. We ask you for your continued protection of our anglers and the event staff. Please keep us safe as we travel and as we are out on the water. I take this time and a moment of silence for all of us to remember our old tournament friends and anglers whom you have called home to be with you. Amen.
Thank you, Rick.
So, hey guys, so we're really excited about the 2021 Classic Cup event, this Pelican Spring Classic, and so there's just some things that we want to go through, some general comments that I'll go through pretty quickly. We're going to go through, launching boats, places, flights. We're going to talk about, some other issues, and we'll talk. There's an information packet that we're going to go through some of those details. But I would also just point out, if you have any questions after viewing this online rules meeting, please don't hesitate to reach out to Eric or I. Our phone numbers are published on the website and are on some of the tournament information entries and so forth. So if you have questions, don't hesitate to call. But so, guys, as I mentioned earlier, obviously we're in a much better position with regard to COVID-19, but we still want to be in a position to follow all of the COVID-19 executive orders. And again, they're much better than they were a year ago, but we still want to follow them and practice good public health. Also, Coast Guard approved flotation devices must be worn when the boat is under power. That means on plane. When you're a trolling motor or off plane, you're free to take them off. But an approved PFD is required when you're on plane and at speed. Again, check for AIS when launching and loading your boats, and be advised, experience has shown us that, the counties are very involved in all this, and there's very high likelihood that there will be people from the county that'll be inspecting boats along with us. Now, we've enjoyed a good relationship with them. They know that we're looking for that same stuff, and it's usually gone really, really well. So that we just ask for your cooperation. And a big piece of that is guys showing up with a dry boat, nothing in your live well. Don't put your bait in a live well until you've been inspected, and then we'll say it's okay to do that. I also have had several calls this week about anglers that have either friends on Pelican or have their own property on Pelican and their boat on a lift or a dock right there. And do they have to reload and get inspected? And no, you don't. All we ask you to do in that scenario is just to come over to the official dock, which is the U Motors dock. A lot of people think it's Zorba's, but it's right across from Zorba's there. And come over there, and you would be inspected. And everyone else is going to have to show up there too to get their packets. But just, we would conduct an inspection on the water. No alcohol is allowed in your boat during tournament hours. Live and or artificial bait is permitted. Obviously, an angler must have a valid Minnesota fishing license. And then anglers must follow all Minnesota fishing regulations. There is a 20-yard spacing minimum between competitor boats. and at no time may a competitor come alongside another competitor boat during tournament hours. Tournament patrol boats, that would be us, along with sheriff patrol boats or DNR boats, are obviously permitted to come alongside you if they have a reason to do that. So that would not be a disqualifying event on a competitor's perspective. Cell phone or radio use among competitors is not permitted. We have allowed anglers to bring along their cell phones for emergency use. And we do reserve the right to inspect a cell phone call logs of competitors while on the water. So we have the opportunity to come up and say, hey, I want to see your phone, who you've been talking to or who you've been texting. We have received calls from competitors on the water to the tournament directors for a number of different reasons that are very, very valid. And if you feel the need to reach out to us for guidance or for, we want to know about floaters that are on the water, so we would really appreciate you reaching out to us and telling us about that so we can go collect them. Anglers are permitted to call permitted to call tournament directors for questions and assistance. And there's been a handful of times that we've had to go out and help people that main engine wouldn't start due to whatever, and we have patrol boats that we will be able to assist all of you. No fish are permitted in your live well of your boat. As I mentioned, please inform tournament staff if you see a floater. We will send out a boat to recover that. The other point is that this is a catch photo release tournament format, and we're going to go into a lot more detail around that. Eric's going to explain some of that, but I'm going to take this opportunity to show you that to maintain the integrity of this tournament, only a judge ruler will be allowed as an official measuring device for this tournament. Now, there are a number of judge rulers, and you do not need to have an FM Walleyes branded one. There are other ones that have been out for years, and actually they have a newer style that's a little longer, but we've checked them all out. It's all good. If it's a judge branded ruler, it's official and you're good. You must use a camera that accepts an SD card. Sorry about the noise. I'm just going to show you. So I'm going to go through this packet again, but the majority of we're set up with these just standard SD cards. So have a camera that could accept that. We do have some micro SD cards that we can use if necessary. But again, just your cell phone and, texting or emailing a picture, that will not be accepted. It won't qualify. You need to have a digital camera, and we're controlling the SD cards, and we'll explain that too. You're going to pick them up on the morning of each event, and they're cleaned and wiped, and so we know that everything's fresh. So, Eric, talk a little bit about launching boats.
All right. Well, launching for both days. Boat inspection will begin at 6 a.m. on both mornings, Friday and Saturday morning, at both the, I call them the west and east access. So both accesses, we will have people inspecting boats starting at 6 a.m. Remember to have your live wells empty before launching. That's a DNR rule, not our rule.
Right.
Make sure when you pull up, your plugs are out. A lot of times they want to make sure that your plugs are out before you get inspected. If you can, once you guys get in line, because usually there's a pretty good flow of traffic. Once you get in line, just pop open all of your compartments and your live wells, your bait wells, even your bait buckets. No, we don't need to see what kind of bait you have. We're just making sure there's no fish in any of the larger compartments and containers that you guys have. Many of you have been through this many times. It's pretty painless and smooth. So make sure the life jackets, they're going to ask about life jackets. You're probably going to get asked about a fire extinguisher. Just make sure you have that stuff readily available. We don't expect to see everything every time, but be prepared to answer those questions and show us if you do get asked. The compartments is the big thing, though. Make sure they're open. That helps speed the process up. Everybody just go ahead, Rick.
I have known a few inspectors that come across some beers and they confiscate it.
Yeah.
Seriously, guys, we don't want any alcohol in the water. I'm making a joke, but yeah.
Right. And then just exercise some patience. We know that everybody's anxious to get in the water, but it's for the most part, 60, 70, whatever boats, we've always had pretty good flow. So be patient and remember to keep your live wells empty before you launch. After you get inspected, you will get a revenue each day, and Rick will go through that with the packet. Once you're inspected, you can come over to the dock. And like Rick mentioned before, if you're on the water and you want to come over, you can get inspected at the dock as well. But that's where you will receive your scorecard and your SD cards. So Rick's holding the packet there, manila envelope. It's going to have your number on it, your boat number with the scorecard right there. Everything is in a Ziploc bag, so it's somewhat waterproof.
It'll have a card.
You'll have a card.
It'll have a ribbon that you're going to attach to your ruler.
Obviously,
for the day.
That's not,
The color
that's
changes
not the color. Yep.
per
Change
day.
the color each day.
And then there'll be a pen. And then, as I mentioned, there's an SD card. And if you do have a camera that only uses a micro SD card, we have some of those available. Generally speaking, we've always been able to make this work. And there's sometimes where the formatting doesn't work. Just reach out to us and we'll get it figured out. We've never stopped anyone from competing because of an SD card. We get it figured out.
So the first flight of boats, after everybody picks up their cards, guys, probably around 6:55, we'll do the national anthem and then start lining up. But we're going to have two flights for this tournament. Flight number 1 will be released at 7 a.m. and flight number 2 will be released at 7:30. Last year on Pelican, I believe we had just under 50 boats, and it took less than 10 minutes to get everybody out. So I would anticipate the same thing, splitting this into 2 flights. So first flight, 7 a.m., you will return to the dock and drop off your SD card and scorecard at 3 p.m. And the second flight leaves at 7:30. You will return at 3:30. Remember to bring your SD card and your scorecard. So when you come in, boats are considered in when they are off plane and they're visible within 300 yards of the U-Motors dock. We don't need everybody coming in at one time and saying, hey, here I am. As long as everybody's off plane, you'll be considered in.
Yeah, we don't want to have a rush to the dock and anyone banging or damaging a boat. And if you want to go through your pictures out on the water, that's fine. I would encourage you to mark your card immediately after you take the picture in the boat, because mistakes gets made. But you've got time to organize your stuff as long as you're off plane and you're within view.
Yeah, and so the other thing we talked about, boats start and finish the day from the U-Motors dock. Guys, we got to keep certain number of parking spots available at each ramp. So if you start to see that thing start to get full, and the inspectors will let you know as well, but once that starts getting full, if you can just drive over, U-Motors is graciously allowing us to use their parking area. So if you can drive over and park and then walk out on the dock, grab your packet, and then your partner picks you up with the boat, it's pretty slick that way too. Just to leave a little less congestion at the boat ramps. So
yeah, we're supposed to leave half of the spots on each ramp each day.
Yeah, so the inspectors will be watching that too. So please pay attention to that and just respect that. We want to keep these things going, so let's stay on the
and
good
I would
side.
point out, I maybe mentioned it earlier, but we will have the judge ruler available at the U-Motors dock on, well, the first day is the most important one, obviously, but we would have them available for sale for $40. I'm sorry, yeah, $40. The new ones, they're a little bit bigger and they were more expensive. So they would be available. Because we're not sure about how the awards ceremony will go, we used to allow people to give us a deposit check and they could turn them back in. That's just not practical right now. So you know, if you don't have a judge ruler, buy one. Besides that, they're a great ruler. So, but we have them available. You don't have to go around everywhere, all the sporting goods stores, to find a judge brand ruler. We have an inventory, and and we're not making any money on them. It's just very easy for you to source them from us if that's what you need to do. But if you have a vintage or an older judge ruler and it works, that's fine.
Perfect. And then I would just reiterate again, please use the U Motors parking area west of Zorba's there. It really helps with the flow. Rick, I know we touched on it, but maybe you want to review the packet one more time?
Yeah, so what's going to happen is every day, you guys, this happens to be, I think, team number 11, but everyone will have a packet. And this envelope, you know, you can show or whatever when we're gonna release boats. You can show each other when you're organizing yourselves. We used to have, well, we still have the boards, but again, not necessarily having a firm awards meeting where people turn all that stuff back in. We have found this to be just a very effective and economical way to get everything to people, and then we don't need to collect it. So there's your number. There's going to be a packet, again, with your scorecard, a pen, an SD chip for the camera. And the other part that I would mention is that before you head out, put that SD card in your camera and take a hero shot, take a picture of the dock, take a picture of your partner. Make sure that you can capture a photograph. There have been times when there's issues with formatting, whatever, it doesn't work. We've got extra cards. We'll swap them out. But you know, you don't want to be all the way out on the lake and then realize you can't take a photograph and then go, dang it. So take that picture before you go. And if you can't, come on back in and we'll get you a new card, a SD card. So that would be a key one.
And also with the ribbon that's in the packet, that, like Rick said earlier, that ribbon goes on the ruler, tie it on the ruler. It has to be in the picture with your fish when it's on the scale. Yep. A lot of guys will wrap it up at the top. Make sure that that ribbon that's in the packet doesn't go on your boat. It goes on the ruler. You will get a separate ribbon at inspection that goes on your boat.
So, you know, guys, we're going to actually have a video that'll be following this discussion here about how to do catch photo release. But there's a couple key points that we want to just kind of re-emphasize and go over before that. So Eric, what do you think? What are some of the key points that you're thinking?
One of the biggest things is the scoring minimum and the tail. So as long as the tail touches the nearest quarter line or breaks the quarter line, you will round up. So for instance, our catch photo release tournaments have a 15-inch minimum. So if you catch a 15-inch fish and the tail touches 15, you would score that as a 15.25. Okay. Now, if you caught a 15.5-inch fish and it breaks the line, touches or breaks the line, you would round that up another quarter. Okay. So as long as it touches or breaks the nearest quarter line, you would round up, with the minimum fish being scored at 15.25.
What about 14.75?
14.75 will not count.
You don't want to round that up to 15, guys. That'll be DQ'd.
Minimum is 15, so your minimum on this card would be 15.25.
Right. You know, the other thing, I guess, that we will go over in the video, but I would recommend, in terms of taking the photographs, it's a two-person job. And we've seen a number of times where one guy's trying to do it, the other guy's trying to fish. And we've seen people lose fish being DQ'd because they didn't have a good photograph. Do it quickly. And I mean, there's guys that can do it with one shot at it, and they're gorgeous pictures every time. You can take as many pictures as you need. It doesn't matter.
Yep.
But you want to bump the nose up to the bump board on the judge ruler. If you want to, you can pinch the tail. That's fine. We allow that, right?
Yep.
And then take a picture. You're oftentimes better. I realize sometimes you're going to be out there in bright sun. If the guy standing can cast a shadow, that makes it easier to see. We've generally always been able to figure it out, but it's been a challenge sometimes. We put the pictures on our computers and zoom them in. It's amazing the resolution that we can get. But if you can try to get a picture that's really clear, without a lot of, it's usually the bleached out from the sun that gives us the most trouble. So if you can try to throw a shadow over it, that's helpful. But, at the end of the day, do the best you can.
The other thing I would point out too, just for simplicity and maybe making it easier for you guys, it's nice to have the same person taking the pictures and the same person holding the fish, because you do it the same every time. We like to see the fish. If you're going to take a picture, the left side up and the nose toward the front of the ruler so that the guy is taking the picture, just do it consistently each time you catch a fish the same way. That's all we ask.
And the entire fish has to be in the picture. The
entire fish has to be in the picture. If the nose isn't on there or the tail's missing or anything like that, they get disqualified. Like Rick said, sun glare is the worst thing. We can't see the lines on the ruler. They get DQ'd. I think last year at Pelican, we had to DQ three fish. So just take your time, do it right. It wasn't by a
sun flare either, though. It was just someone that wrote down the wrong number.
That happens too.
It does. So and that's the reason I had recommended that you write down the number when you take the photograph. You don't wait till the end of the day and look at the photographs, because it's really hard to see them on a little screen out on the boat.
Right. And then, like Rick said, when you guys come in and you're looking over your card, if you want to double check your camera and just make sure that your numbers jive with your pictures, that's a good time to do it. Don't worry about, sitting on the water for an extra couple minutes. That's fine. We're in no hurry to leave for the day. Take your time and get it right. But, like Rick said, write them down as you measure them. You're going to be able to have 6 on the card that we're going to go through on each day. So you will, at the end of the day, circle your best 6 fish, and we will add them up.
So to be clear, you guys can record every fish you catch. And even if they're under, it doesn't matter. But we want you to identify the 6 fish you want us to count.
If you don't circle and identify those 6 fish, we won't do it for you. If a fish gets disqualified because of a bad photo or the wrong number, we don't pick a next one for you. You lose that fish, and then you will only be judged on 5. So keep that in mind as well.
But anyway, not to get bogged down, but these are important pieces, and we've had to deal with these issues. And at the end of the day, I think that people feel confident that in the integrity of our tournament. So that's what we're looking for.
Yep. So let's go ahead and introduce the video with Kyle and Brenton. It's an AYA video that we've circulated several times. Kind of go through how you catch and release a fish in a catch, photo, release type tournament.
Kyle Avery and Brenton Hall here of FM Walleyes. We are your Little Pine and Devil's Lake Young Angler Tournament Directors. We want to talk a little bit today about the catch, record, release format. Brenton, let's just talk a little bit about leading up to the tournament and the day of the tournament, how we are prepared for that.
So what you're going to want to bring with you on the day of the tournament is your red judge ruler. That is the ruler that we do use as the official ruler for our AYA events. Bring your judge ruler. We do have some available for you to borrow or rent during the events, and we have some available for purchase as well. Also, you're going to want to prepare for the event by having a camera that will put the pictures onto a standard size SD card, not a micro card, but we need that a camera that will put the pictures onto a standard card. From there, the morning of the tournament, we're going to deliver a bag to you at the launch, and that bag is going to have your SD card for that day. It's going to have your scorecard and a colored ribbon. Now you're going to need that colored ribbon to be in your picture, which Kyle's going to talk about in a minute, and you're going to use that SD card to record your pictures during that tournament day. And if you do want to do some practicing with our SD cards the night before at the rules meeting, we're going to have those available, Kyle, so that you can bring your cameras out, make sure they work on the cards, and plan and prepare for the next day.
Yep, we want to be prepared the morning of the tournament. Once we get out on the water, hopefully we see our anglers catching a lot of fish, and that's what we want to do. The intention of this tournament and this tournament format is to get the fish landed and in the boat, to get them measured, recorded, and released as quickly as possible. So the process is going to look like this. That walleye will first be taken out of the net and unhooked. We're going to lay that out on the judge ruler. We want a photo of one of the team members holding that fish on the judge ruler. Now it's important that we can see the nose of that fish touching the bump on the bottom end of the ruler, and then also where we can see the tail in terms of getting an accurate measurement and verifying that measurement. You can take as many photos as you would like. Once you get one you're satisfied with, then what we're going to do is we're going to take a hero shot. That indicates to us as tournament directors that we have the end of one fish and we can look for a new fish after that. A hero shot is simply a shot with one of the team members, preferably one who caught the fish, holding that fish. Once we get the hero shot, we immediately release that fish into the water, and hopefully that process is done as quickly as we possibly can. Once the fish is released, then we go into our scorecard, and we're going to write down the score, meaning the length of that fish, remembering that if the length touches a line, let's say it's 16-inch walleye, it touches a 16-inch line, we're going to record 1/4 inch above. So if it touches 16 inches, we're going to record that fish as 16 1/4. And we record it on our card at that point in time, and then we can go resume fishing.
At the end of the day, you're going to have hopefully a full scorecard, Kyle, of all the fish that you had enjoyed catching during the day. We need you to circle the amount of fish that we're weighing for that tournament. We need you to circle the ones you want us to weigh to factor into your weight for the day, and we need you to make sure that the angler's name who caught those fish is next to that measurement, because remember, we do give out a special prize to the largest fish caught by a boy and the largest fish caught by a girl at our tournament. So we want to make sure that we know who to celebrate with those big catches for the day. And of course, if our adult angler catches one of the fish that we're going to weigh for that day, we still want that name on there too, so that we can use it for our results verification.
It's a fun way to do a tournament. It lets us to score all of the big fish we catch during the day, really in avoiding our slot limitations if we were to bring the fish into the boat and bring them up to a scale. It's important to remember, Brenton, one of the things we want to make sure our teams are aware of is that at no time are we allowed to put a walleye into a live well into our boat. Our live wells need to be clean the entire day while we're out on the water. And as you are demonstrating, all of our participants need to be wearing their life preservers while they're out on the water participating in the AYA tournament. We wish everybody the best of luck. Look forward to seeing you there at the next AYA event.
Hey guys, so you've seen that video about our catch photo release procedures. And one other thing I guess that we want to point out is that take a look at our website and Facebook. We will be publishing the team roster as it is updated, and you know we're flexible, so we'll get one out pretty soon, pretty early with this first thing. But and it will be updated, but you'll be able to see then if we've received your entry, and you can look and see if we've got your name misspelled or that kind of thing. But look further on FMWalleyes.com tournament tab, or on Facebook, and we'll be publishing our updated team rosters up until the tournament.
And on Thursday evening, it'll be finalized, so you'll know which flight you're in.
Correct. Hey guys, thanks for participating. Looking forward to seeing everyone. All the best.
Thank you. See you out there.